Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Nicholas Parran and today I'm sharing this beautiful space with Marion Vaughn. We're going to be discussing an incredible quantum access technology that was founded on a modality called matrix energetics that Dr. Richard Bartlett founded a long time ago. So Marion, thank you so much for joining me today. Just giving you a moment to introduce yourself.
Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you so much for having me and also for contacting me the way you did and asking me if I was interested in sharing this experience that I've had with Matrix and how much it's become a part of my life. Love the opportunity because, to be honest, it's totally transformed my whole healing life, what I do, but also my own life, which has just been extraordinary.
You've been a full-time healer for at least 25 years, dealing with very complex problems, things that
Yes.
people consider to be incurable, or this is just how the way that it is, to maybe more simple things. How has matrix energetics and this quantum access technology, how did it actually transform you as a healer? Because you'd obviously done other things beforehand. So what was it that this modality opened up for you that wasn't accessible before?
Okay, so to start with, I might share how my first experience of Matrix. I went along to a massage therapist and she gave me what I came to term a Matrix zap. And so I was standing at the end of the massage table and she just found a spot and found a different spot and did something. The next thing I knew, the top half of my body was on the massage table and my feet were still on the ground. And I'm going, what just happened here? So, as a consequence of that, I read Richard's book, Matrix Energetics, and then really became so engaged with it. Just reading the book and what he had been able to do with it blew my mind. So, I guess the interesting thing for me was that we had no money at the time. I wanted to go and do the Matrix course. There was no way. It was in America, it was in Seattle. While I was thinking about how much I wanted to do this course, a savings thing that I had set up years before matured, gave me enough money to pay for the course, to fly to America, to book the hotel, the whole lot, covered it plus a little bit of spending money. That's what's been happening ever since my life opened up to Matrix. So, what did it actually do for me in my healing? It moved me away from thinking that I had to do anything. It introduced me to the concept and reality that we are not separate, that we are all part of the field of consciousness, and that there is the most phenomenal amount of information, vibrational information in that field, and that the way to access it is not through our terribly useful minds, our lovely logical linear minds, which we love, but in fact to drop into the heart field. So if I give you a couple of examples, one is a kind of weird one. It was like I got a call from a guy who said, look, my wife's in hospital. She's had the surgery, but they won't let her go home until she's had a movement, right? Which what happens at hospital sometimes. And he said, can you help? And I said, okay. So I had a look, by which I mean I dropped into my heart field, brought this person into my awareness, just with the inquiry, what's going on here, knowing that what needed to happen was a movement, saw an area of density, paid attention to it, it suddenly lightened up, and that was the zap. The next day he phoned up and he said, movement happened, I'm going home today. It was like starting to work in a world where there were infinite possibilities. I was no longer constrained by what I thought I knew. That has completely transformed everything. I guess the key for me was learning how to step out of my constrained, limited view of the world and just notice what I notice. So, how to do that. And so, when we do this course that you've invited me to do, that's what I'm wanting to share is how do we drop into that zone, which we can call the 0 point field, where we now know that holds everything. That's where the creative energy, that's where source energy is. And so, how do we do that during those 3 hours is to be playful because our left brain tends to make us very serious. Whereas what Richard showed us is that the more playful you are, the more you open to everything else that's possible.
Are there any other stories where you had no idea what was going on that turned out to be quite miraculous?
There was a woman who she'd lost her husband a year ago. She was really completely blocked by grief. When I scanned her, she was feeling really stuck in the grief. She didn't mind that she was grieving for her darling husband, but she felt stuck in it. So when I scanned her with my eyes closed, she was in Ireland, by the way, and I'm here in Gerringong, because in that zone there's no time and no space, which is kind of handy. I noticed that in her field, it looked as if there was a plant with tendrils desperately trying to get out to the light. So when I told her that that's what I saw, she just started laughing and crying. She said, I had that sense that I was a flower inside me desperately trying to thrive and bloom, and it couldn't do anything. When I paid it attention from this altered state of consciousness that I was in, I was expecting that the plant would somehow break through. It did not. She opened up and the light flooded in. And I could just see all this light within her, and she felt it. Her whole face softened, and the tears changed from a real tight crying to a releasing, relieving crying. And she just felt so much softer and so much better. That was kind of magical too.
Wow. Yeah. So it is amazing that literally you can work with anyone, anywhere, as you mentioned, across time and space and dimensions.
I guess that's the magic. And I guess what Matrix showed me was you don't try and control the outcome. You just notice what's there. You pay it attention from a different state of consciousness and deep awareness. And then you notice what you notice. And then you will see what happens. Something happens. It's a happening. It's not me doing it. It's a happening, and I'm noticing it. And in the observation, it becomes part of the physical reality.
That's powerful. I remember my first experience with you, which was actually back in 2012. That's how we met, because of a fellow friend, Nancy, who I was doing theatre healing with at the time, mentioned, oh, there's this woman called Marion, and she's doing this incredible modality called matrix energetics. And I'd already done a few different modalities at that point, but I remember having that very first session with you. I had multiple sessions over the years, but there really was this sense of something instantaneously transforming. That sensation that you mentioned earlier of being zapped, like it is literally a visceral actual experience, like something is absolutely happening. It was the last modality that I felt I needed to learn, because it was a way to play with the unified field. It was more about the unlearning rather than the learning. Any final comments you'd like to share specifically to people, interested in coming?
If I think in terms of what it gave to me, when you allow for the awareness that you're connected to a field of all possibilities, you start to view life and everything differently. And it's a place you can realign to. So it doesn't matter whether you are a massage therapist, whether you're a chiropractor, because they're already touching the body and they're already feeling stuckness in the body. They can do it very physically. But if they have this additional awareness, then as they're feeling the stuckness and they do a zap, it's like they can transform it without necessarily having to do all the physical as well. It's like, let's play in the quantum playground. Let's just see what's possible. And it's a playful sense. And whether you're doing it with health issues or abundance or a particular relationship that's really stuck, you can play with any of those.
So we've got a workshop, 3-hour workshop, where we'll be covering the fundamentals and the structure of how to actually do this, as well as some practice and play opportunities on Sunday the 20th of September here in Sydney. We'd love for you to join us. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to send either Marion or myself questions, and we're happy to answer them.
We would very much like to see you there. I can't tell you how much fun it gives me. My husband says I don't go to work because this, to me, there's nothing better. It's It's so exciting. It's just wonderful. It really is.
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks so much, Marion, for joining me today.
It's a real pleasure.
And
Thank you, Nicholas.